Hello everyone, it's Kimberly and we are back in the workshop tonight, and we are beginning our next project. You may have seen our post from, what day was it now? Probably yesterday. You see, I'm losing track of time. I think you guys look like your cattywampus there. See if I can't straighten you there. I hope so. So welcome. Thank you for jumping on with me tonight. If you are new here, welcome to our page. My name is Kimberly. I am with Unique Finds and Furniture Designs. We do furniture artwork in this area, and we feature Dixie Belle paint products in our tutorials and our broadcast. So tonight, the young lady did bring in her vanity, her desk, which she's using as a vanity. We are going to get started on this now. You can see, and I am going to start the same way I always start, so you can see how this looks. The vanity, it's already been painted. We also have some drawers here. It's already been painted in a chalk paint of an unknown source. So she's changing it up. We're going to do something a little different with it, and we're going to get going on that. So since it's a chalk paint that we don't know about, when we start cleaning it, we'll know where we stand with chalk paint. All of them, sometimes if it's a water-based chalk paint, which most chalk paints are, it could conceivably start to come off as we start to clean it. And if it's a good solid one, it won't. It'll stay in place and we'll be able to clean it and go on and paint over it. Also on this piece, there's some hardware. It has some embellishments, as you can see. I'm going to point you down a little bit. Maybe, I don't know if my chair's up as high as it'll go or low as it'll go, but let me see if I can't drop myself down a little bit. Nope, I'm at the bottom of that. So you can see here some embellishments that's on this piece. I'm going to pop this off. These were the handles on it that looks like little brads here that somebody has popped on. So, in speaking with my client, I have kind of suggested to her, pop these off and get some really cute hardware to put back on this after we're finished. Really would probably set the piece off a little bit more when we're painting it. So I've got me a screwdriver here. I'm gonna wedge it under here, tap it under here real gently so that I don't scratch anything. Repair any little holes that you might see in there, and sand that over and get this prepped and ready for paint. So those are steps that we're going to go through. You may be going through that on a project you may be working on. So yes, we are jumping right in on this, and I'm gonna clean it and get going on that. But let me see, sometimes these will pop right off. I'm just gonna show you guys what we're doing so that you can see. So what I normally do is just kind of take a screwdriver and try to tap it up underneath. And a lot of times you can just get the tip of it under. Yeah, I know you're not supposed to use your stuff for that, but you might be able to get up under here and pop these off. I'm hoping that we can. That was the goal here, if I can get them to pop off. And a lot of times, because we're working, we got paint there, we can't really see what's under it. And plus it's moving on me. But that's kind of what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna try and create a wedge up under. There's paint all up under that. So we'll see how difficult it is and whether I can get it off or not. Hoping I can without messing them up. Thinking we can tap on those. Might even could be tapping on the edge of this. Sometimes you don't know, so you just kind of jump in. Don't want to hurt nothing. Sorry, I'm always making a little noise in here. And I'm going to investigate that a little further so that I don't hurt any of the structure of the drawer. But that's what I would do. I'm going to come in here. I know it's all sealed with paint. There's layers and layers and layers of paint there, but possibly it's also glued on and it might make it impossible to get back off. But if I could get it off, I wanted to get it off. Sometimes if you take a little putty knife, a metal putty knife, you can slip it up underneath there. Hey Johnny, how are you? Are you still out and about? I saw your post today. So yeah, might try and pop those off as I talked to my client about getting them off, but I want to be super careful because I don't want to damage the drawers and stuff like that. So I'm going to kind of move that out of the way because that looks like to me it's going to be a little bit, it's going to act like it needs a little bit more help, and I need a flatter tool to get up under there. So a good little flat chisel. I've got a screwdriver here which is a little thicker than a chisel. So I would suggest using a thin chisel or a real thin putty knife. So I am putting gloves on because I am going to be working with this chalk paint, and I don't know. I'll work around that handle top for now. Pardon me. It's not bothering me too bad. So I'm going to point you down. Well, not so far. I need to see you guys, and you guys need to see me a little bit. Get down here off of that stool so that I can get in your view. So this is our White Lightning cleaner. Let me grab my bottle just to show you guys, because I always try to keep you well informed of the products that's going on these pieces. So this is the White Lightning cleaner. It comes in a powder form. Back to basics. I put it in the liquid in the bottle, spray bottle, stir it up real good, and get started on it. That's what I'm going to be cleaning this with. I'm going to just move this on out of our way so that I can move back a little bit and probably be a little bit more in your view. So that's what's in this clear bottle, and I'm just going to squirt it on here because yes, what I do to all these pieces is start with my cleaner and also a rag. So I can already see that that the paint is moving. That's kind of what concerned me. It's okay, I'm not going to concern too much on that, but I figured that it probably would do something. My main goal is to hope that it doesn't peel off. I'm going to clean it real good. The reason I'm doing it, like I say, this is a different kind of chalk paint. Sometimes it'll peel up on you and you have to clean the whole 9 yards off. So let me just pull it in and show you what it is doing. So you can see on the top of that how that's starting to look. See how it's changing the surface? That's how you can tell that it's affecting that chalk paint. Here is before. So you can see how that chalk paint looks once you put your White Lightning cleaner on it. Now look how it looks. See how it's doing? So you gotta be careful. Sometimes it will pull the chalk paint up, and I'm hoping that's what I was kind of afraid of, but it's because you never know with another chalk paint if it's just going to peel right off, which is a concern, because if it peels right off, then guess what? You pretty much got to take it off. And I'd see if it comes off that big dresser like that, we're going to have, or the big vanity, we're going to have some issues, which means you may have to strip the entire gauntlet, which is what I was not hoping for, but I'm going to worry about that handle because chances are I'm not even going to mess with that handle. However, it is what it is. Kind of knew it. My client kind of knew it. We talked about it. Knew that that would be probably a big possibility. So if you were with me tonight, thank you for jumping on with us tonight. Thank you for being part of our lives. I'm going to just show you guys what I'm talking about. I kind of wondered, see how it's coming off there? See how it's pulling the paint off? That's just water and our cleaner. That's what's on here. So that's all you're seeing on this piece. So that's what happens sometimes when you're working with other chalk paints. You got to really be careful and that it doesn't pull the paint off. And in my case, it looks like it's going to. So the thing is, if you run into this, here's the scenario. I want to say welcome if you're watching. Hey, Johnny. If you run into this, probably your best bet is to get as much of whoever and whatever chalk paint that is. Your best bet is to try and get it off. I am using a Scotch-Brite. You can see it's well loved. It's not strong in any way, shape, or form. So the Scotch-Brite itself should not be pulling off that paint. But because it is, if I paint this and my client's paint peels up, it's going to be my fault because I didn't take this off, unfortunately. And that's just kind of what you run into anytime somebody brings something in that's chalk painted. A lot of times that's the case. Obviously, chalk paint. Now, Dixie Belle chalk paint would not necessarily just peel right off or come right off of its piece, even if you do wet it. This probably wasn't sealed down in any way, shape, or form. So it would normally take me 2 to 3 days to do this work, but unfortunately it's going to be a little bit more involved than that, and nothing I can do about it. Just going to have to do it a step at a time, and it's going to be a little bit more involved, just because like I say, if we paint over it, it's unfortunate, but it does happen, and sometimes it doesn't, but a good possibility that it would. This probably is some paint, some Lowe's chalk paint, or some variety, unknown variety like that, and so it is what it is. So in this broadcast, you guys are getting to see the real deal, the real life story of what actually happens sometimes in the workshop. If it's not painted, we don't normally run into this problem. If it is a piece that's just varnished and waxed, it's a little bit, just varnished and stained and varnished, like some of the other pieces that you've seen us work on, the Thomasville server, for instance, didn't have any chalk paint on it, anything like that, so it was pretty wham bam and we're good to go. But in this case, it's going to be a little bit more involved. So what I would suggest to you, and this is going to be a lot on this particular piece because there's insides and under and all that fun stuff, but it is going to be something, if you guys run into, you're going to want it, because you're not going to be able to really feather out and cover that other paint, because if you do, and your chalk paint, our Dixie Belle chalk paint comes off, your client's going to be upset and disappointed, thinking that, you painted it and now it's just coming back off. So, just going to have to put the elbow grease in it. I'll have to inform my client. She may even be watching this video tonight, and she kind of knew, because I definitely let them know that was a strong possibility. And so my suggestion, again, if you run into it, just go ahead. Sometimes I have literally taken these pieces outside when they do this and get me a good bowl of water and a Scotch-Brite. You might not even need our cleaner, and go at it and just get that paint off. It looks like it's on good until you get the cleaner on it, and then it starts peeling up. So I'm going to have my work cut out for me, you guys. So this is going to be a whole lot more intense of a rehab. So I'll definitely let my client know and see what she thinks. And we will go from there. Sometimes, you can get it to where you can just clean it pretty good and get most of the paint off. As you can see, that wood is just going to come right on out, and you can see how it's coming off. This is how we started here, and this is how it's coming off. So this is definitely a chalk paint scenario, and this does happen every once in a while if you are doing furniture like I do, as much as I do. So obviously I'm going to keep going on this. It's going to be kind of short and sweet because this is exactly what I'm going to be doing for a couple of days now. With this, it's going to take a little bit more time. I'd say it'd probably take you a couple of days to rid your piece, especially a piece of this size, to rid your piece of the paint as much as you can, so that when you do paint it with our Dixie Belle paint products, your client's water is getting up underneath of also the embellishment that's on here is not the glued on, so the glue up under it's seeping up under it. So that's another thing. So just bear all those things in mind when you are doing it yourself. I'm trying to figure out if this is a plastic or actually looks like a piece of wood you bend that somebody put on here. So I'm just curious whether that'll work. So anyway, so I'm going to pop this handle off so I can clean up underneath here. I think we'll be able to get that off. It'll be a test of, this will definitely be an interesting rehab here, but we will do it and we will get her done and we will move on and be able to get this painted for my client. It just is an unfortunate situation sometimes when you are working with chalk paint. Every drawer might not do that, but we'll never know. We'll know as soon as we get going on them if that's the case. And if it is, just hang in there. Don't get disappointed if you bought a piece and it's like that. Just do like me. Just get your Scotch-Brite, take your time, get your cleaner, and just, you know, you're in for the long haul. You're going to have to definitely get it off so that your Dixie Belle paint will have something to adhere to. Because if this is not adhering and it's coming off that easy, then it's going to make our paint come off that easy. So, so just be aware. And this piece of wood you bend is not stuck very good, so it's probably going to pop off. And I'm wondering if they glued it, because it's lifting as well off the piece. So whole new ball game. So if you're working with something like that, I might suggest taking a razor blade up under there. You might have to peel it back, peel it off. Try not to break it, especially if it's for a client. It's a client's piece. You want to be really, really, really careful, because if you break one, you know, you've got the same problem with all of them. So just bear that in mind. And this one might be that way due to the fact that this top is hitting right here. I'm sure when you're shutting the drawer on this, it's hitting. And I don't know what it was glued down with. So I'll be really, really, really gentle on this. This piece will probably have to be removed, and maybe I can move it down a notch. I'm not sure, depending on where those handles are. So we'll have to work on that. It's just little steps, baby steps. Just take your time. Don't get in a hurry. Just kind of work with it and see where it goes. Just like I'm going to have to do here. So this was a good workshop lesson here. A lesson learned when working with chalk paint. Lesson learned is not all chalk paints are created equal. So you buy a piece of furniture that's painted in chalk paint. Be aware that this is probably your strong possibility of what's going to happen. So, in some cases, if it doesn't lift and you can get it to where it's, you know, smooth and clean without pulling off the paint, I would suggest try that. And I'm probably pretty good until I put my rub it down with the rag, and when I rub it with the rag, it pulls the paint off. So that's a pretty good indication that no matter what you try to do to salvage it or save it, it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to bite the bullet and try to get as much of it off as you can. So, not such a big deal when you're working with the drawers, but when you get over here, that's where it's going to take a little bit more time on your prep and on your work. So, just kind of bear that in mind as you are working with, pieces that you've picked up. So, along the way. So that's just all it is. Big chunk of paint just came off here. So anyway, it is what it is. Just like I say, take your time, work with it. I've got a little Scotch-Brite here, which may help move the paint a little bit more, especially along this embellished piece here. I'm going to do my best to salvage the embellishment pieces and get the paint off, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of days, you guys. I'm going to be trying to remove this old chalk paint, whoever's it is. So what we're doing with this piece as well, because I'm going to have to just keep on going with the removal of that, we are going to paint the bottom half of this piece in the fluff. And then, let me just think here, or did I say that the wrong way? Yes, the bottom half in the fluff and the top we are going to do in the, we're going to do the top in Hurricane Gray, and we're going to do the bottom in the white, and the farmhouse white is what we decided. And, but I'm going to be working for a while, cleaning this piece, stripping this paint off of this, which is a little bit more involved than I think we realized at the beginning. But don't give up. Just get your water out. Get you a Scotch-Brite out. It'd probably just come off with water. I believe that's what's going to happen. It doesn't have to be our cleaner. But if you just have water, it'll probably be doing the same thing. So what I would suggest, take a mister bottle, just mist your piece, and let it set. Because if you let it sit on the chalk paint, it's going to be easier for you to just come in here. Maybe you guys can see. Move you back. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Hopefully you can. See how that's just kind of coming off. So it is going to be, it's going to be labor intense, you guys. So, but don't quit on it. It can be so beautiful. It's just going to have to put some effort into it, a little bit more effort into it when you go to paint over it. You could have just come in here and just painted over this without cleaning it or anything, but I'm just not sure if, chances are I always clean my pieces really well so that my paint will stick, and that is my biggest concern with it. So, just so you guys know, just is what it is. I'm getting it all over the side of the drawers here from touching it. So, word to the wise, get you a good chalk paint when you're painting your furniture, because good chalk paint's not going to do this, and you're not going to have these big issues with it. So, just be mindful when you buy a piece that's already painted, and you're going to paint over it and you go to clean it, this is a good positive scenario and a good possibility. So just know it in the beginning, and don't just expect it, kind of like I told my client. I kind of expect that going to happen, and it did. So there you are. I'm just going to continue on doing what I'm doing. I'm going to try to pop some of this off. Obviously, this rehab's going to take a little bit of time. I will be back, and we will show you how it turned out, and we're going to continue doing this. and see where we get with it so you guys can see the final result. You see how it's starting off here. You see what's coming off of these drawers. And so I'm going to go ahead, go through the drawers, and then I'll work my way to this beast over here and get as far as I can get on it and get it ready so that we can actually get started on the paint process. But as long as it's coming off, I'm going to see if I can't get what I can get off. So stay tuned for the update on where we're at and how we're getting along with this piece. We will be back here on Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. So in the meantime, you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to get busy scrubbing, dubbing on these pieces. And I will see you on the other side of the weekend. Hope you all have a very blessed weekend. And happy painting, everyone. See y'all later. Bye.